The rain fell on the city in relentless grey sheets. Inside his Bentley, Alexander Vance stared through the water-streaked glass. At 58, his face was a roadmap of success, but tonight it led to a place of profound emptiness. It had been 11 months, 2 weeks, and 4 days since his daughter Lily had vanished. The investigation had yielded nothing. For Alexander and his wife Eleanor, the silence in their penthouse was a suffocating presence. He was being driven home from another late night, another attempt to bury the gnawing void under corporate paperwork. His driver, Joseph, navigated the slick streets with ease. They were stopped at a long traffic light on the edge of the financial district when Alexander saw him. A boy, no older than 10, huddled in a doorway. He was drenched and shivering, holding out a box of cheap lighters, but Alexander's gaze was snagged by a tiny detail. Around the boy's neck was a thin silver chain with a small, exquisitely crafted pendant, a lily flower with a diamond dewdrop. Lily's necklace, the one he had commissioned for her 7th birthday, the one she was wearing the day she disappeared. "Joseph, stop the car!" Alexander's command was a whip crack. Joseph pulled over. Alexander shoved the door open, the cold rain instantly soaking his suit. He barely felt it. He stood before the boy, who scrambled back in fear. "I'm not going to hurt you," Alexander said, kneeling. "Please, that necklace, where did you get it?" The boy just stared, trembling. Alexander pulled out his wallet and offered a $100 bill. The boy's eyes widened. He snatched the bill and stuffed it away. "Now, the necklace," Alexander pressed, his voice gentle but insistent. "It belongs to my daughter. She's missing." Something shifted in the boy's eyes. He spoke, his voice small and hoarse. "The lady." "What lady?" "The nice lady. She gave it to me, for protection." A nice lady. The words were a physical blow. It didn't make sense. "What was her name? What did she look like?" "They don't know her name. She has hair like sunshine, and she sings." Hair like sunshine. Lily had blonde hair, but this was a woman. "Where did you see her? Can you take me to her?" The boy hesitated, looking at the warm Bentley. "I can help you," Alexander said, his voice cracking with sincerity. "A warm bed, food, but I need you to take me to the lady." The boy looked at him for a long moment. Finally, he nodded. "Okay. What's your name?" "Leo." Alexander led the shivering boy to the car. Joseph was surprised but said nothing. Leo climbed in and Alexander followed. "Where to, sir?" Joseph asked. Alexander looked at Leo. "Where do we go, Leo?" Leo gave an address in the derelict industrial sector. The Bentley pulled away. Leo sat curled against the door, wide-eyed at the car's opulence. "How long have you been on the streets?" Alexander asked. "A while." "Don't you have a family?" "Gone." The word hung in the air. Alexander felt a strange kinship. "Tell me about the lady. When did you see her last?" "A few days ago. She comes to the old factory with food and blankets. She's different, not like the social workers. She remembered my birthday, gave me an orange." He said this with a reverence that broke Alexander's heart. They arrived at a sprawling, rusted complex of decaying buildings. Graffiti covered the walls. The place was desolate. "She's here?" Alexander asked, his hope curdling into skepticism. "Sometimes," Leo said, pointing to a warehouse with a collapsed roof. "In there." Alexander and Joseph exchanged a look. Joseph's hand drifted toward his concealed firearm. "Sir, this is unsafe. Perhaps I should call the authorities." "No," Alexander said sharply. The police had failed him. This was his lead. "Stay with the car." He got out, and Leo followed. They picked their way through shattered glass and twisted metal. The air smelled of damp rot and decay. Leo led him to a makeshift entrance, a loose sheet of corrugated metal. They slipped into the dark interior. The only light came from holes in the roof. The space was vast and echoey, filled with abandoned machinery. Then Alexander heard it. A woman's voice, soft and clear, singing a familiar lullaby, the same one Eleanor used to sing to Lily. He followed the sound, Leo trailing behind. They rounded a giant loom and saw her. She was kneeling on a blanket, her back to them. A small group of ragged children sat around her. She was handing out sandwiches, and her hair was a cascade of golden blonde, just as Leo had said, like sunshine. His breath caught. The slope of her shoulders was achingly familiar. "Mama used to sing that," a small boy said. "It's a good song," the woman replied, her voice gentle. "It makes you feel safe." Alexander took a step forward, his shoe crunching on debris. The woman turned. Time stopped. It was Sarah, his sister-in-law, Eleanor's younger sister. Sarah, who had been a wreck at the vigils. Sarah, who had held his sobbing wife. Sarah, who had helped coordinate search parties. Sarah, who had a key to their penthouse. Sarah, who had been one of the last people to see Lily alive. Her face went pale. Her eyes widened in terror. The sandwich fell from her fingers. "Alexander," she whispered. All the pieces of the last 11 months slammed together in his mind. The nice lady, the necklace, the lullaby, the access, the betrayal. "Sarah," he said, his voice a low growl. The children shrank back. "It's not what you think," she stammered, scrambling to her feet. "Where is she?" Alexander's question was a whip. He stepped closer, his body trembling with rage. "Where is my daughter?" Tears welled in her eyes, not of remorse but of panic. "She's safe, Alex, I swear. Safe. You stole her. You watched us die inside every day for a year. You monster!" Leo stared, confused and afraid. The other children fled. "I had to," Sarah cried. "You have to understand. You were destroying her." "What are you talking about?" "Your life. The pressure, the expectations. Lily was just a prop to you. Eleanor was drowning in pills. I couldn't let her grow up in that. I saved her." Her words were like shards of glass, echoing his deepest fears. "You had no right," he snarled. "I had every right. I love her. Look at this." She gestured at the warehouse. "This is more real than that sterile museum you call a home. She's happy." "Where is she?" he repeated, his voice a deadly whisper. "Take me to her. Now!" The threat broke her. The defiance drained away, leaving a terrified woman. "She's with me," she whispered, "in an apartment a few blocks away. Take me!" He grabbed her arm and pulled her towards the exit. He glanced back at Leo. "Joseph!" he yelled. Joseph was already out of the car. "We have another stop." He shoved Sarah into the Bentley. She collapsed, sobbing. Alexander got in beside her. Leo hesitated. "Get in, Leo," Alexander said, his tone softening. The short drive was a blur. The betrayal felt like a physical wound. Sarah led them up grimy stairs to a dim hallway. She fumbled with a key, her hands shaking. The door swung open. The apartment was small and shabby but clean, and there, sitting on a threadbare rug, colouring, was a little girl. She looked up. She was taller, her hair was longer, but her eyes were the same. It was Lily. Alive. For a moment nobody moved. Alexander stood in the doorway, his legs weak. Lily's eyes moved from Sarah's tear-streaked face to the strange, rain-soaked man. There was no recognition. Then her gaze dropped to his hands. She stared intently. Slowly, she stood and took a small step forward. She pointed at his left hand. "Daddy," she whispered, "you have the spot, the little brown spot." Alexander looked down at the birthmark on his knuckle. A trivial detail a child's memory had latched onto. The dam broke. A sob tore from his throat. He fell to his knees, tears flowing freely. "Yes, baby," he choked out. "It's Daddy. I have the spot." Lily ran to him, throwing her arms around his neck. He held her, clutching her to his chest. He breathed in the scent of her hair, no longer expensive shampoo, but something generic, and it was the most beautiful smell in the world. He was holding his daughter. She was alive. Over her shoulder, he saw Sarah slumped against the wall, her face a tragedy. He saw Leo in the hallway, a silent witness. He saw Joseph, visibly moved, standing guard. In that moment, Alexander Vance, the titan of industry, realized everything he thought he knew was a lie. The quest was over, but a new, more painful journey was beginning. He had his daughter back, but the cost was the destruction of the man he used to be. Rebuilding would start from the ashes.